was big news. It's like, why is that? Why is that news? They're doing what the rest of us do. Why is that news? And this is what fascinates me. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. To my house guests, come in, make yourselves at home, make yourselves comfortable. To you who are visiting for the first time, thank you for stopping by. If you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. Okay guys, so today is the last day of March, Friday. It's miserable in this part of the UK. This weather literally has had me struggling to get the correct position for lighting in this room. I'm at an angle today because I just can't get it right, so I hope I'm not too overexposed. I'm trying to make it as light as possible, but not too bright. So yeah, it's a miserable day, but we're still gonna continue. I didn't upload a video last week because, as what has happened before, a few times before, I've prepared a video and then developments have happened when I've done all the editing and ready to upload. Something's happened, which means that I have to abandon that and then do a new video. This is what happened earlier this week when it was reported that Harry was in London at the beginning of the week to attend a hearing at the High Court. Now, before we go any further, I want to give you a definition of the basis of the allegations, and it's to do with phone hacking. Phone hacking: the action or practice of gaining unauthorized access to data stored in another person's phone, especially in order to access their voicemail.
I don't know precisely how many people were there. I would guess it was probably a dozen or so. The other people there were Sir Victor Blank, as I say, who was the host, who I think was the chairman of Trinity Mirror, Piers Morgan, the then editor of the Sunday Mirror, a woman whose name I've unfortunately now forgotten, Ulrika Johnson, Philip Green, and those are the only ones I really remember. I can't remember who else was there.
Okay, so you've set the scene. Now, Mr. Morgan in particular, did he say anything during the course of this luncheon which was of interest or unusual?
Ulrika Johnson was seated opposite, next or semi-next to, almost next to Philip Green, and Victor Blank on her other side, I think. And Morgan said, teasing Ulrika, that he knew what had happened in conversations between her and Sven-Göran Eriksson. And it was a rather bad parody. So, yeah, I do remember it quite, and I was quite struck by it because I'm rather wet behind the ears in many of these things. I didn't know that that sort of thing went on. And indeed, when he then turned to me and said, "Have you got a mobile phone?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Have you got a security setting on the message bit of it?" I don't think it was called voicemail in those days. I didn't know what he was talking about. And he then explained that the way to get access to people's messages was to go to the factory default setting and press either 000 or 1234. and that if you didn't put on your own coat, his words, you're a fool. Now, I don't know whether he's talking about whether he was making this up, whether making up the conversation, but it was clearly something that he was familiar with, and I wasn't. I didn't know. I didn't know that this went on. If you were to say as a journalist you damn well should have known it was going on, I'd have to accept the criticism.
What was the reaction of anybody else there, which you can recall?
I didn't like the atmosphere. So, I mean, I can't be specific about how anyone reacted, but it struck me as close to bullying, frankly.
So, why was Harry back in London? I came across an article from Forbes.com, which I consider to be very concise, and it explains everything clearly. I don't know the facts, ins and outs, but this is what I thought would be a good explanation as to what's happened if you don't already know. This is from Forbes.com, published yesterday, March 29th, 2023. Here's why Prince Harry is in British court this week. Lawsuit against Daily Mail publisher explained. Some of the United Kingdom's biggest names are bringing the publisher of one of the country's largest tabloid newspapers to court over privacy violations, including Prince Harry, just months after he published his memoir Spare and emerged as a vocal critic of the British press. The lawsuit alleges Associated Newspapers, which owns titles like the Daily Mail, Metro and I, breached privacy to learn celebrity gossip, including by bugging phone calls, placing listening devices in homes and cars, and breaking and entering onto private property between 1993 and 2018. The claimants, many of whom showed up in court this week but will not be testifying, include Prince Harry, Elton John, Sadie Frost, Elizabeth Hurley and Doreen Lawrence, the mother of a black teenager killed in a racist attack in 1993. Associated Newspapers denies the privacy violation claims, calling them preposterous smears, and is attempting to have the case dismissed on the basis it was brought too late. Harry alleged journalists sought private flight details for former girlfriend Chelsea Davy and hacked into phone correspondences with his friends, and in his written lawsuit said Associated Newspapers' behaviour was a major betrayal given promises made by the media to improve its conduct following the tragic and untimely death of his mother, Princess Diana, in 1997. Harry's witness statement criticised the Daily Mail's unchecked power, influence and criminality, and alleged the royal family withheld information from him about phone hacking incidents and the possibility that he could take legal action against Associated Newspapers. Associated Newspapers invoked the Human Rights Act, which guarantees the right to a fair trial, to prevent the 73 journalists and news executives facing accusations by the claimants from being named publicly, citing potential reputational damage. The lawsuit has drawn comparisons to the News of the World tabloid phone hacking and eavesdropping scandal, which resulted in the arrests of journalist and top editor Andy Coulson and the paper's closure in 2011, though it did not stop accusations of phone hacking among other British tabloids. Key background: Harry and his wife Meghan Markle stepped away from the royal family in 2020, partly blaming negative and racist press coverage that took a toll on their mental health. Harry has since publicly criticised British media, most prominently in his 2023 memoir Spare, and is involved in a number of ongoing lawsuits against newspaper publishers. Harry is one of several British celebrities taking Mirror Group newspapers, publisher of the Daily Mirror, to court over phone hacking and unlawful information gathering between 1996 and 2011. The case is expected to go to trial in May. He also launched a similar case against News Group newspapers, a subsidiary of Rupert Murdoch's News Corp and publisher of The Sun, in 2019, and has called Murdoch evil for his desecration of objective facts. Harry told ITV in January he hoped his lawsuits would help change the British media environment, though he said his father, King Charles, called this a suicide mission. Crucial quote: "If the most influential and popular newspaper in the UK can evade justice without there being a trial of my claims, then what does that say about the industry as a whole and the consequences for our great country?" Harry's witness statement reads. Surprising fact: Prince Harry's court appearance in London is reportedly his first public appearance in the United Kingdom since he attended Queen Elizabeth II's funeral in September. Though not required to attend, his spokesperson told Reuters he wanted to publicly signal support for the case. His UK appearance generated media attention and speculation about whether he would meet with his father King Charles or his brother William, though he reportedly will not. What to watch for: whether the case will head to trial. This week's pre-trial hearings, which do not include witness testimonies, will conclude on Thursday, that's today, 30th of March, and a judge will determine if the case will proceed. Lawyers representing associated newspapers are attempting to have the case thrown out before trial. For those of you who are, on standby, ready to shout and shake your fists and say, "Oh, I thought Harry and Meghan wanted their privacy." I mean, that argument is very tired and it's very weak, because if you're going to say it to them, say it to the other parties involved. Harry has been made the face of, this case, giving people the impression that he's the only one bringing a complaint against associated newspapers. He is one of 7 parties, I believe. So if you're going to say that to him, say it to Elton John. Also say that to Baroness Doreen Lawrence. This article is taken from sky.com, published a couple of days ago on Tuesday, 28th of March 2023. Stephen Lawrence's mum: "I thought Mail was ally, but I was played for a fool. One of the most interesting elements of this case relates to Baroness Lawrence and the Mail. The papers famously campaigned for justice for Stephen, and its murderer's front page helped trigger the Macpherson report into the Met's investigation. But a witness statement from the Baroness reveals her feelings towards the Mail have changed. I am claiming for 4 unlawful articles through which the Mail misused the information it stole. All those articles are written by a journalist, whose name has been redacted, who, up until the day I was told about these illegal acts that had been hidden from me, I believed was a close ally and even a friend. In fact, throughout this entire time, I believed the Mail was on my son's side and cared about the fight to bring his killers to justice. It hurts me to know that I was played for a fool." She accused the paper of tapping, blagging, and the hacking into my voicemails, the monitoring of my bank accounts and phone bills, hidden electronic surveillance, and corrupt payments to serving police officers. Associated Newspapers denies all the allegations. And also say that to the family of Millie Dowler. This has gone on for so many years, so clearly, the British media has overstepped the boundaries when it comes to reporting on people that are well known, whether they became well known by accident or whether they are well known as a byproduct of what they do. And this is what I said in a previous video with regard to, for those of you who were around at the time when Princess Diana was killed in Paris. This all ties in because I remember at the time people were saying, "Oh, lessons will be learned and, this should never happen again." Remember that social media wasn't around at that time and it was bad then. Princess Diana's face was on the front page of these tabloids every single day. And I think that's partly the reason why I had stopped buying newspapers in my early 20s because it was relentless. It's like, okay, is there nothing else to report? Why are you making sure that this lady is on the front page every single day, literally every single day without fail? And she became known as the most photographed woman in the world, and she was. But again, it's the money. Because they knew that every time her face was on the front page of a newspaper, sales would go up exponentially. No question. And when she was no longer around, they had to look for something. They had to look for a new subject. Harry and Meghan, for some reason, they draw fascination for people. And me talking about them on here, I'm just curious as to the behaviour surrounding them. It's not them per se, because I've got my own life to live. You know, I don't live my life vicariously through other people and aspire to be them. They've got their own issues. Despite all the gloss and the sheen that you see, Harry and Meghan have got their own issues. They are living their lives every day, trying to get through every day like all of us. So I just find it extremely interesting that in the pursuit of money, the press will do anything. If you don't agree with Harry and his pursuit of the media and what he perceives to be his quest for justice, you know, trying to right wrongs, if you don't agree with that, what would you do in his position then? This article is from theguardian.com, published a couple of days ago on Tuesday 28th of March 2023. Prince Harry. Royals agreed not to sue newspapers over phone hacking. Harry says he was conditioned to accept family's view that they should not dare take on UK newspaper industry. Prince Harry has claimed members of the royal family struck a secret deal with newspapers not to sue them over phone hacking because it would open a can of worms. Harry alleged his own family hid information from him about press intrusion, and he had been conditioned to accept his family's view that they should not dare to take on the British newspaper industry. In documents filed to the High Court, he said there was a private arrangement between the royal family, which he calls the institution, and Rupert Murdoch's news group papers, NGN, which publishes The Sun. Harry claimed there was in place an agreement between the institution and NGN that we would not engage or even discuss the possibility of bringing claims against NGN until the litigation against it relating to phone hacking was over. The institution made it clear that we did not need to know anything about phone hacking, and it was made clear to me that the royal family did not sit in the witness box because that could open up a can of worms. The institution was without doubt withholding information from me for a long time about NGN's phone hacking, and that has only become clear in recent years as I have pursued my own claim with different legal advice and representation. In addition to claims against NGN and the publisher of the Mirror, Harry is now bringing a claim against Associated Newspapers, the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. He alleges the company's newspapers targeted him through a variety of illegal means, including voicemail interception, tapping of landline phones, and inappropriately obtaining credit card records. Harry said he decided to sue Associated Newspapers because if the most influential newspaper company can successfully evade justice, then, in my opinion, the whole country is doomed. In the witness statement, Harry added, "I am bringing this claim because I love my country and I remain deeply concerned by the unchecked power, influence and criminality of Associated. The evidence I have seen shows that Associated's journalists are criminals with journalistic powers which should concern every single one of us. The British public deserve to know the full extent of this cover-up, and I feel it is my duty to expose it." He said the reports in the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday about his private life had caused him immense grief and paranoia as a young man, citing an article about a little-known girlfriend from his Eton days called Laura Gerard Lee. It led to Laura's parents being doorstepped, which they were understandably not pleased about. This sort of thing caused me to try and keep matters as private as I could to avoid this happening. Harry is one of 7 individuals bringing cases against the publisher of the Mail, claiming the group's newspapers regularly broke the law to obtain stories. Associated Newspapers has described the claims as preposterous smears and a pre-planned and orchestrated attempt to drag the Mail titles into the phone hacking scandal. Lessons have not been learned since 1997. They haven't. And with social media now, it's got more and more intrusive. It's high stakes now because people are paying over the odds to get intrusive photos of these people. I'm sure you guys have heard as well, there have been people that have worked with Meghan. There was one guy in particular, I can't remember his name. If I find it, I'll insert his name and his image here. He had acted with Meghan in a film years and years ago, and the media pursued him, asking him, so basically offering him money to tell lies about Meghan. I'm sure he could have done with the money. In fact, I'm sure he said that he could actually have done with the money, but integrity stopped him from selling out. And the same can't be said for members of her family, unfortunately. And speaking of Meghan's family, some of you may remember my video entitled DNA, Defamation Not Applicable. As I was filming on Thursday, it transpires that the case has been dismissed, as reported by Sky News and other publications. A Florida judge dismissed the lawsuit on Thursday, saying the Duchess was expressing an opinion about her childhood and her relationship with her half-sibling, and a statement of pure opinion was not capable of being proved false. I wonder if he watched my video. I'm only joking. So what I've concluded through doing these videos is that the common denominator, the main motivation for all the negative press that surrounds Harry and Meghan is money. Because I reiterate, no one is interested in good news. No one's interested in what they do behind the scenes when it comes to their charities, when it comes to Meghan helping women. And I may talk about that in future videos because there's so much that she does that we don't know about because it's not publicised. Even going back over material that she's released over the last year and a half, I'm going to revisit those. I've revisited some already and I'm going to revisit those and come and talk about those as well. And I say all that to say, like I said in my other video, my last video, this world is very evil. And it's like society thrives off the darkness, the low vibration. Those of you who understand what I mean will get immediately what I mean. It's very dark. Negativity, very, very dark. And on this channel, we're going to elevate out of that because that's the whole premise of the tagline. Enhance, enrich, elevate. Whether that's to do with health, fitness, mental wellness, everyday life, how to get more out of just doing everyday things and seeing positive results. This is what this channel's about. You know, I talk about Harry and Meghan. for those of you who are new to this channel, this is not what this channel was originally open for. Had no interest in talking about them. The thing that got me was the whole Jeremy Clarkson thing. That's what started this all off. And it just disgusted me so much. I had to come and talk about it. And like I said, I didn't know, you know, I just thought I was talking to my 8 subscribers at the time. And I was like, okay, I don't care who's listening. I'm just going to say it just to put it out there because this is how I feel. I said, no, nobody's going to be interested in how I feel. Lo and behold, you guys were interested, which still makes me laugh to this day. So yeah, it's just really not, this world is not nice. And that made me start to think about what, you know, the content I want to put on this channel. I'm still going to talk about them when things happen, when there are developments. But it made me start to think, okay, what other content do I want to put out? I'm still going to do my restaurant reviews. I've been out to restaurants, but I haven't done any reviews because, you know, I've been doing other things. And but I'm going to start doing those again. I'm going to do vlogs when I'm out and about. And there's going to be more travel, hopefully, in the next few months, because I want to document those. This channel, I'm just documenting stuff, okay? It's kind of like a diary in some respects. It was primarily for myself. Just to keep a record of things happening, you know, since my dad passed. I just felt this need to start doing this. But it's turned into something else, and I'm going to add another dimension. I'm still going to do those things, but I'm going to add another dimension. And this is where you guys come in, because I want you to participate. Now, we're going to be in a new month shortly. And I want to start talking about us, whether it's us as women, whether it's us as a community, whichever demographic you feel comfortable in. All of it is centered around human behavior. And there are some things that I've seen online which I've literally sat in front of my device and my mouth has been open, like I actually can't believe what I just saw. So I'm going to launch a new series. I'm not going to reveal too much here. I'm going to do a pilot and all will be revealed there. But what I want you guys to be on standby for is your participation, because I'm going to turn this series is going to be mainly about you and what you think. I'm going to sort of step back and I want to hear what you guys think. I know the format is going to take, because I've already worked that out, but I'm not going to reveal too much here. I'm being a bit cryptic and I apologize for that. But keep an eye on my community tab. You guys know that I put things up on there from time to time. Check my community tab. And yeah, this is going to be an ongoing series, because I'm so interested to know what you guys think about certain things. We don't have to agree, but this is what growth is, because like I say in these videos, I learn from you. You guys teach me a lot. I don't know everything. I've never professed to know everything. I don't wish to know everything, because if you think you know everything, invariably you don't. You know, I still go to my mum and ask for advice. I even go to my daughter and ask advice, because their experiences are not my experiences. So, you know, my mum's seen a lot more than I have. My daughter hasn't seen as much as I have, but she's seen different things to what I've seen, especially in this digital age. So I am not too proud to learn from you. I've told you guys that already. So I'm encouraging you to engage with this series. I'm not going to tell you the name yet. As I say, look out on my community tab when I'll announce the name. The content is going to be varied, but the content, I aim to make it positive and just uplifting. And as I say, that's where you guys come in, because yeah, I value your opinions, especially when they're constructive. Like I say, we don't have to agree, but as long as they're constructive and they contain value, that's what I'm looking for from you guys. Before I go, to conclude with regard to what's happened with Harry, it was World Book Day on the 2nd of March, and there are still people that love Harry. So much so that they decided to dress up as him on World Book Day, and this made me smile. So, as I wrap up this video, guys, I have a few questions. Do you think that these high-profile individuals actually have a right to privacy? Or do you think that's the price they pay for being famous? Now, if you believe the latter, how do you justify the intrusion into the lives of people who never intended to become well known, i.e. Doreen Lawrence and Millie Dowler, her family? How is that justified? Do you believe that the public or society at large has an insatiable appetite for, you know, all things celebrity? That as a society, people are just very, very nosy. And it's this hunger for information, no matter how small. You know, if Harry and Meghan goes to the shop, it's big news. I mean, they did it with William and Kate when they were going to, when they lived in Anglesey and they were going shopping, it was big news. It's like, why is that news? They're doing what the rest of us do. Go to get their weekly groceries. Why is that news? And this is what fascinates me. It fascinates me so much. Behaviour of human beings. And regarding the practice of phone hacking and extreme intrusion allegedly adopted by the British press, do you believe that the end ever justifies the means? Basically, in order to bring a good story to you, how they go about it, is it justified? So yeah, those are my thoughts this week. Thank you for being respectful. Thank you for being constructive with your views. Thank you for being mature in your approach. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, visitors, and you'd love to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I will see you next week. Thank you guys for watching, and you should catch me in the next video.